Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another tutorial. Today we'll be talking about how to make quote-unquote catchier arps. And so yeah, let's go ahead and preview what you'll be learning how to make today. Alright, so this will be the first arp melody that you'll be learning how to make. Alright, and this will be the second one. The last one. Alright guys, before we get started, just want to do a big shout out to my coach Miles Away, who basically helped me put these together, as well as showing me kind of like how to make arps and stuff like that, as well as sound design. So if you want to take your EDM production to the next level, I highly recommend him, and I will leave all his contact information in the description below. Lastly, the third arp is an arp that I got from Lokii, so credit goes to him, and he's a very talented artist, so I recommend for you to check him out as well. Alright, let's go ahead and get started on how to write these melodies. So a lot of these arps, they have their own layers and stuff like that, especially like the first one. That's like your classic kind of future-based intro, aside from like the missing lead or a guitar or whatever like that. If you guys want to learn how to make like an intro similar to that one, we'll do that in another video. Probably in the next video I'll show you exactly how to create like that type of intro basically. But for this tutorial we'll be focusing on writing these melodies and stuff like that. So first off, basically what kind of makes these melodies I guess more appealing to the ear is that they have a lot of notes that make you feel safe or home basically, because we're basically the key of C. So we have C, which is the root note, which is very safe, and then we also have the fifth, which is the dominant, I think what it's called, which is also a very safe note. And then we also have this passing note called the B, which kind of gives you that tension. But just say, for example, like we didn't have this, it wouldn't really be as interesting. I'll show you an example if we just did all kind of like safe notes, or just like a C major, for example. C major chord. So this is basically your arp with just all like the C major chord basically just broken down. This is what it would sound like. Like it sounds rather, I guess kind of basic, and if you were just to kind of like repeat this over and over, the listener would kind of get uninterested because there's not really anything happening, I guess, right? There's no tension. But if we add this like passing B note, this is when it starts getting like more attention-y or more interesting, right? And this is my own like personal like opinion or personal preference, but I love the arps that you can basically just play over and over and over and over again. And if I were to basically have this just playing like a C major chord, for example, it wouldn't really you won't be able to repeat it as if for this one. And then, if just for example, it's probably not going to work as well either, just because the chord progression. But just for the sake of example, like it probably maybe could work. Like I don't really hear anything like wrong with the notes per se, but it is a bit uninteresting, as you can kind of tell. But basically, for the arp, if you want to learn the sound design, it's really simple. It's basically just one saw wave, did some release here, put the envelope 3 to the cutoff filter here, and basically have this shape for the plucky sound, and had the MG low at 18, cut off a little bit lower, because what I found, what I actually like had trouble on before too, is when I learned how to make this this arp sound, it didn't really match with the future-based genre, because I think the future-based genre, you want something more sentimental or emotional. And what I originally had, or I learned it from, was more of like a person who created like chill house or like house and stuff like that. So the sound design didn't really match, but you know, generally with the sound design for arps for future bass, you kind of want to have a lower cutoff, don't want to have it open too much, or you might start sounding, it won't really fit with the genre too much. So I'll just give you an example. Like, it's a little bit overpowering compared to, like, you know, if we were just to put this back down and then probably put the cutoff around there, right? It kind of adds more to that, like, warm, you know, I guess the color or emotional feel. So that's basically that with the cutoff. And then you're welcome to, you know, use any other shapes if you like to. I found that usually the saw wave is something that I like the sound of the most. You can definitely try square waves and stuff like that, but I think something with like the way the frequencies are or the frequencies it covers, the square wave may not give you the same effect. Just to give you an example of a square wave, let's just try that and then see how that sounds. Right, so when you use like a square wave, it feels like some frequencies are missing. It doesn't really sound as full. So you know, that's why I like the saw wave. Again, you're welcome to try other shapes and stuff like that. So yeah, that's more or less pretty much what's in Serum. And then we just have some reverb and then delay after the reverb, some saturation, and then just this like band pass basically. Yeah, and that's more or less what the first arp is, or how to create like this type of first arp. We're gonna show you onto the next method. This arp follows the chord progression more, just a bit more. Same idea though, it has a mix of like, you know, tension and release. You know, with this method in particular, like it's good to know like your chords and stuff like that. Like, you know, how to make your suspended chord or sevenths and ninths. That can help a lot with, you know, when you're designing your arps. That way you can kind of just like create a chord if you like. But, you know, I think what's most important is probably just using what feels right to you, or basically just using your ear and what sounds right to you. And that's probably like my go-to way. We'll definitely get into a way where if you just had chords, you can just use the arpeggiator. But, you know, for this method in particular, again, you know, we have safe notes and a use of a passing or like tensiony kind of note. And then this one's just completely safe. But the chord that I'm playing, I think, yeah, with the chord that I'm playing, it's a C major, but then we have some tension here, playing with a C and D. And then sometimes the arp here, let me see if I can do this, make it easier. There we go. And then sometimes the arp here is actually playing some kind of like note that would probably add tension. Not always in particular. Like this one, it would add some tension. This one wouldn't really have any tension, but the chord has some tension. And then this is basically just following the A major aside from the G, but it's also possible to play because again, the G is a safe note in the C key major. But we're playing the C and E for the A, and then we're also for the G major playing G, C, and D. So it kind of follows the chord because basically I'm playing, you know, the fifth of each chord. So this is the F chord, I think. Oh, sorry. Well, I guess it depends, but I'm basically playing notes in the chord. So this chord here is F major chord, or F major seventh actually. But in the F major, there's also a C here. And then in this one is a C, and then we have a G, which is the fifth of the chord. This one's the A, which is the also the fifth because we're playing an E here, and then the G, also playing the fifth, and a D. So that's why it would probably work, I would think. But again, you know, when I'm making these like arps, it's more kind of towards what sounds right versus what's technically right in a more, you know, theory based basically. So again, use your ears and what sounds right to you. But again, this is basically what this arp sounds like. So yeah, this is more of like your changing arp. It's not always playing the same note, but it's kind of following the chords. All right, and then the last arp here is the I would say like the tension builder arp. Generally with this arp, you know, you want to like have some sort of resolve because it's basically just tension the whole entire way. Again, this is the arp that I got from Lokii. But basically what I believe is this is actually playing an A minor, which is the relative minor of C major. Because basically to find your the relative minor of a key, you would basically just go down 3 semitones. So just for example, if we're in the key of C, and then the relative minor of C would be 3 semitones down. So 1, 2, 3. So your relative minor is the A minor. And I believe the reason why there's more tension in this one and there's no resolve is because we're basically playing in the A minor key rather than the C major. So it kind of gives us tension, and basically it's just playing the A minor over and over and over. So we basically have E here, which is the 5th of the A minor, A right there, 1, and then the 3, which is a C, and then again A, E. And I just playing that over and over. Same arp, but it has a kickstart on it, or basically is, you know, that's what gives it kind of that pumping. And again, this is what it sounds like. I basically just made some random respaced notes in there to kind of go with it, to kind of add to it. But basically with this arp, you kind of want to have some certain release. I hear a lot like, you know, since it's not really like a build up or, you know, tutorial about, you know, a drop or something like that, I didn't include it. Maybe I can make another tutorial, but basically with this type of arp, you probably want to have some type of release. So like whether building up more with that same repetitive arp, building up more and more to like a drop, so that way there's some resolve, basically is kind of how I would kind of go about using this type of arp, you know, because when you listen to it, it's like you're preparing for something, and like it keeps the kind of audience like kind of guessing like, oh shit, what's about to happen. And if you just keep doing that, you know, they're always going to wonder, so gotta basically resolve it somehow. And that's kind of where you could kind of go about with this arp. And then another way to make our arps, this is definitely like my least favorite way, I would say, but you can definitely still do it if you like it. It's basically just taking the chords that you have and then just slapping on a arpeggiator. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. And basically I would think you would just put the up and down, and let's put this back to the right one, and I would think maybe yeah, so that's basically another way that you can do it. Again, my the way that I prefer is just the one that you can just basically repeat the notes over and over and over. And then basically to kind of like, you know, how to write it. Again, it's just, you know, a lot of practice and of like a lot of like what feels right to you. But yeah, so let's just say for example we didn't have anything. Kind of how I'd go about it is like, all right, I like C, B, and then we'll go with another safe note, and then another safe note, probably safe note here, and then we'll just repeat that. Like that will work, but I kind of feel like this note isn't exactly where I want it to be. So like I feel like, you know, just kind of moving it around. Let's just try a D. I know it's not gonna work, but you know, just for the sake of the video. I mean, technically it could work because it has that tension, but then move it to C. And then very similar fashion with this one. So that rather than like, you know, playing it downwards, I have it upwards, but then I also change the notes. So same idea. So let's say for example, like we just kind of started like this, and I just duplicated everything. So I kind of wanted to change it. So let's just say for example, let's try putting it up. Like something doesn't feel right there already, so I'm like, okay, maybe it's just too much tension from the passing note. Let's try here. Like that technically could work, but I kind of want it to go higher. So this is probably not going to work, but we'll just do it for, you know, fun. Well, technically that actually could work too, and then we can like do that. And then that one like. But then I feel like it works, but maybe this one can actually go a bit higher so it can sound a bit more pleasing to the ear, at least in my opinion. Let's try that. Okay, and then we can move this up. Okay, and then we can, rather than doing that, we can put this here. If you were to F, it probably wouldn't work. Right, still too much tension there again, so the E. So yeah, that's basically how it would kind of go about, you know, doing these arps and creating them. Again, it's really just about using your ear, you know, doing a lot of practice. Is basically just practicing, you know, this is essentially practicing making melodies. So, you know, over time, you know, as you keep practicing, eventually you'll start hearing things that you like, and you'll start, you know, creating more melodies that perhaps you resonate with. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the thumbs up if you liked the video, and then also hit the bell notification symbol so you know when my next video goes live. Also, please follow me on my social media channels. I post like shorter form self-development videos on there, and probably some tips here and there about, you know, how I more about my journey and how I overcome struggles and stuff, because I know you know, as an aspiring producer or whatever you want to call me, it definitely can be difficult, so I love to share that journey with other people. So yeah, if you like that, feel free again to follow me on my social medias as well as YouTube, because I'll definitely post stuff like that too, alongside with the music production. And then also please join the Discord server. I'm trying to build a community where we can all help each other grow, basically. So if that's something you find, you know, some interest in, definitely join that. Again, all links will be in the description below. Thank you so much again for watching. Until next time, much love. Peace out.